Guys often love when I talk about my full-time job, so let's talk about something I've been thinking about a lot recently in relation to my full-time job. iPad kids. Hear me out. If you don't know what an iPad kid is, it's basically the generation of kids that have grown up behind a screen, and more often than not, they lack the same interpersonal skills as the previous generations. Now, as somebody who has worked in front-facing outbound sales since I was 18 years old, I find this very interesting, and I am very curious to see how this changes the sales industry over the next few decades. The reason I say that is because anybody who has worked in a front-facing sales role will know that so much of the success that is associated with that role comes down to interpersonal skills. It comes down to your ability to read a room, to read tone of voice, to read facial expressions, body language, not to mention written and verbal communication skills. Now, the reason I find this interesting is because most of the time when I'm speaking to decision makers, i.e. the people that sign off on what I'm doing, I'm speaking to CEOs, I'm speaking to board members, I'm speaking to high-level managers who are 98% of the time of a different generation to myself, which is interesting because as the iPad kids start growing up and they start stepping into sales roles, they're going to be dealing with CEOs, board members, high-level managers that are of an older generation and therefore possess the interpersonal skills that the iPad kids don't. Now, you could totally make the argument that technology and the use of AI will adapt with time and with these generations, but I honestly cannot see a world in which interpersonal skills don't still play a pivotal role in the success of salespeople. You can also totally see a world in which older salespeople end up being more successful within their industries as opposed to the kids that are coming up through the industry because of the interpersonal skills. Which is really just to say that I'm very interested to see how my industry and industries like mine change over time and how businesses change to accommodate a generation of people who don't possess the skill that has historically been a marker for success. Anyway, you might not find this interesting. I find this very interesting and I'm very curious to hear your thoughts.